Today in this video I would like to discuss about many topics, and this is inspired by the many visions I've received while I was in meditation. As you guys may or may not know, a lot of my deep channel messages come from being submerged in water, almost entirely submerged in water except my nose. And the reason why I do this is because water is very purifying. It helps me to release any toxins in my body. So being submerged in water, I feel my very biology, my very presence somehow is one with the earth. I don't know if it has to do with the water itself, but I feel completely submerged in the planet. I feel very grounded. That's why a lot of times when we go to the beach, the very sound of ocean waves or sounds of whales or just being at the ocean is very grounding, because water, as we know, this planet is abundant with water. And that water helps us to ground our energy. And grounding is a form of purification. It's a form of releasing. So while I was in my meditation, I was going deep and I was allowing my spiritual essence to roam free through the cosmos, through the universe, through the multi-universe, or through the many-dimensional realities of myself. And what I discovered were many things. But first, I would like to talk about your mind, the brain, the crystal brain, and information. When I channel messages, I am not able to withhold the information. Give me 1 minute, I'm going to turn on the light. Okay. So when I'm channeling, I'm not able to withhold information because our brain, our very biology, at this current state of evolution of the Homo sapien, is not able to process and withhold a lot of information. So what happens, it's very much like a cup, like a container. The information goes inside of the cup, you drink it, the cup is empty, and new information is downloaded into the cup. But the point of the information, of the download that was received to me in my meditation, is not so much of a conscious memory. It's more so of that download that we receive, that channel message that we receive inside of our brain. It's more so that we get into the flow and into the groove of being able to have information flow in and out, because we don't need to retain information. That's the thing. Our brain doesn't necessarily need to attain the information, but what is important is that we keep that flow consistent, that flow of receiving and giving away the information. Because when we get in a practice of this, we'll be able to allow the information we need at a given time to receive, and we can apply it. So I feel like that's why we are getting in the flow of channeling messages, channeling Pleiadians, channeling the Octorians. Because when I was in meditation, I did see the Octorians. I saw their very essence, their blueprint, their planet, very much so. And what I discovered was this energy focus on wisdom, on knowledge. And I resonate deeply with them because of my energetic, unique vibration has always implemented knowledge, implemented wisdom, you could say being an old soul into this dimensional plane. So when we are tapping in, when we go into meditation, when we really tap in, let go to receive, when we set the intention. For me, I always say I want to know the truth. The truth. I'm a seeker of truth. And I just let my mind kind of wander. But my spiritual, when I allow my spiritual essence to guide me, it's not like I'm wandering as I'm scattered and just everywhere. I am guided towards a particular area in existence, cosmic existence, that my soul energy, my essence in this physical body at this time would like to gain awareness about. That's what we're doing. We're gaining awareness about many concepts, many cosmic truths, wisdom, not to retain it, to store it into our brain, but to allow it to come in and to flow out. So forgetfulness is an important thing when it comes to the nowness. Forgetfulness is important when it comes to the nowness. So when it comes to our nostalgic behavior, I feel that is going to basically be leaving. Our nostalgic tendencies going to be leaving, because we're going to realize we don't need to withhold information. We can let it go. But that gets in the practice of channeling, the practice of receiving and giving away, receiving and giving away. It's like a cup. You pour in your chocolate milk, you drink your chocolate milk, and your cup is empty. You get in a pattern, like a child. A child understands the concept of what a cup does. It's for holding liquids or solids for a temporary state. Like channeling, our brain only wants to withhold that message for a temporary state of being, like a cup holding liquid or a cup holding a solid. So it's important to get into the groove of that. And what happens when we don't get in the groove, it's kind of like we have a bunch of cups around our house. And this can be considered a phobia, because I know there's many phobias out there, and that this may be one of them. Where we have a bunch of cups and all of them are filled with water. And I don't know if you guys seen the movie The Signs by M. Night Shyamalan. The little girl, she had this tick, you could say. I don't know if that's the right word to describe it. I don't really know the right word, if it's a phobia or a tick. Who knows? But she had water cups all over the house. Water cups, just cups with water everywhere around the house. So visualize that when you think of you need to hold the information. You're going to find yourself having an accumulation of just unnecessary cups filled with water. But if you can just trust in this one container, this one cup, you could say, and get in the habit of allowing the cup to receive the channel message and allowing the cup to give the channel message away, and through the form of drinking it. Because when you drink it, it almost becomes a part of you, the water. Now, we can't intellectually really perceive where that water is, but that is not the point of you could say, this analogy. It's important that it's a part of you. Some essence in you, that water, even that food, is now inside of your very biology, is a part of you. It is working with your essence, is collaborating with your essence, like drinking water or eating peas or fruits and vegetables. So that is what the channel messages are meant to do. It's meant to support our essence. It's meant to bring awareness. Just like when we really get in tune with our biology, we eat certain foods and we start feeling like stuff in our body. Like we could actually feel like our kidneys or our liver, or we could feel, even if you're a woman, you're reproductive, you start feeling like weirdness or feeling bloating, because that fruit or that vegetable is bringing awareness to a particular area in your body, like your liver or your kidneys, or your large or small intestines. For example, broccoli. If you have, if you're kind of, in essence, backed up, what broccoli does is it brings awareness to that, because broccoli is a fiber and it flushes it out. So it's bringing a level of awareness to your biology, and that's what our channel messages like food do for us in a more spiritual sense. When we go into that meditation, when we allow our spiritual essence to direct us, instead of us trying to direct or manipulate our spiritual essence to go where we want, intellectually we feel we need to know at this moment in time, we go with the flow. You'll find yourself receiving all kinds of messages, and they might not directly apply to your life, meaning they might not be about the when or the how you're going to meet your life partner, or more, you could say, mundane things. But the thing is, we collectively are transitioning into an era where our channeling is going to expand. Time is going to expand. Our very definitions of the cosmos, of the universe, of Mars, of Earth is going to expand. The very timeline, the history of Earth is going to expand. So now I would like to get into what was given to me about the history of Earth. First, these alien beings I would like to mention as the Arcturians, because I saw a lot of purple energy. This purple focus on, you can imagine the third eye. That's very much the Pleiadians, the third eye. Earth is very much the green, like Buddha is the heart. We focus on the heart, the swirling energy, because imagine the heart is like Earth and the polarities of Earth. And when you look at Earth's polarity, the north and south poles, energetically you got this swirl going on. The swirl, it's like moving up beyond the poles, through the poles, up beyond the poles, the circling. And when you look at the biology of humans particularly, because humans have a much larger aura than any animal on this planet. When you look at the human in the heart, it has the same thing going on with the electromagnetic field. It's swirling like the north and south poles of planet Earth. So we have very much a focus on planet Earth of working on the heart. It's a school for the heart. While Arcturus is very much a school for the third eye. It's a totally different grid system. So the very planet of Arcturus very much may be different. They may not have poles with this swirling energy. It may be a totally different method that the planet goes about charging itself. But what this Arcturian sort of Lyrian energy presence, I don't necessarily know the name, it's more of the frequency, but I attach a name because that's the only way to really express to you guys the vibration, because we associate vibration with name. Okay. But one day I will be able to literally stand here and energetically just feel the vibration of what I want to communicate, and you receive it without me having to label it or categorize it or put a definition to it. Because vocal definition really doesn't give a justice, the actual vibration essence. It's like when putting a name to it, such as Arcturian or the Lyrian aliens, okay, it's very limiting. It puts this grand vibration, as grand as a universe, into this little box. And here's the box. So that's why I feel we're going to get more energy space where you're going to find people literally just sitting here. And you do see people just sitting here with their eyes closed and just sending you the vibrations without words. Okay? So what was given to me is that Earth right now, this age of Aquarius, you could say this golden age. I don't like to say golden age because if you look on Google, you see golden age and it's completely a different vibrational essence than what I'm really referring to. That was more of like the age of enlightenment, more so than this golden age of more of enlightenment, not in knowledge or intelligence per se, but in overall well-being, overall happiness. Okay, because you can be enlightened, educated, and be awakened in the form of intellectual pursuits, like the Age of Enlightenment was very much, or the Age of Reason, John Locke, inspired by that. But you can be, at the same time, highly intellectual, but really your overall presence is not really happy. You're not really in the groove with yourself. You're more in your intellect, just looking at things through the age of reasoning, of positive, negative, good, bad, this everything is objective sort of thing. But this, what I'm talking about, this Age of Aquarius energy moving forward, what was shown to me is that this is the first ever, I don't even know how to communicate it. It's like guides, help me choose the best vocabulary to describe this. Okay, yes, this is the first time for humanity, not just humanity, but for all earthlings, to be participating in a individual but collective expansion of the biology. That I think is the best thing. Now, before the Bronze Age, okay, you have the Dark Age. Before that was the Bronze Age, and this has been thousands of years. Now, history doesn't go further back than the Bronze Age, okay, which is way before the birth of Christ. But we do have some theories. Plato talks about Plato. I said Pluto. Plato talks about Atlantis, and we have Lemuria. Those are concepts that predate kind of documented history. So it's prior the Bronze Age, this Atlantis and Lemuria. But before that, the Light Era, because remember, Earth's grid system, it cycles through this light and dark, masculine and feminine. These polarities, like atoms, they have negative and positive charges. That's how atoms are atoms, because they have that grounding, they have that balancing going on between the negative and positive in the atom itself. So Earth is very similar to the atom, where it has this negative and positive, and it cycles through these. Now this happens for thousands of years. It's not like 1 year you're in this age of masculine or feminine, dark, light, negative, positive. Again, I don't associate as good, bad. It's just energy, frequencies, polarities that bring balance. Like I said, the negative and positive in atoms. So when we cycled, you can imagine our first cycle through the light, the more feminine energy. The feminine energy, again, before the Bronze Age, this is more Atlantis and Lemuria, before Atlantis and Lemuria, way before that, was an expansion of species. That was very much what was shown to me in my meditation. That was when life itself was really abundant. Like really, it was a cornucopia of new life coming in and going out. And again, this is a period over thousands of years, millions, really, of years. So when you look at History Channel and you see the whole creation of life, life in the seas and life on the land, and then life, the monkey, and then the human, that was very much that was going on in the first cycle through the light era. Was life finding its footing, life finding its grounding itself, life coming to an existence. And we got a little taste of what we're going to experience coming forward with this Age of Aquarius, with Atlantis and Lemuria. But what was different than what's going to be happening now is that these, you could say, Atlantis, Lemuria, enlightened, spiritually conscious, connected, you could say, was in particular geographic regions. It was on particular continents. It was not the globe, you can imagine. Now, the globe has access to it, but then the globe as a whole was not all participating in this, you could say, Atlantis and Lemuria vibration of high awareness, transcending the intellect, tapping into multi-dimensions, expanding one's definition of time. That was only happening in particular geographic regions on the world, like particular continents. So they showed me the Bermuda Triangle in my meditation, and I don't know, but there's something about the Bermuda Triangle in the Atlantic that has to do with Atlantis or Lemuria. Some sort of continent once existed, not exactly on the Bermuda Triangle, but maybe like a little bit above, because remember, land over time shifts. Okay, like we have Pangea, and then Pangea shift, and now we have our continents and where they're situated now, but thousands of years from now, who knows, North America may be squeezed up in Japan, because we are shifting that way. I mean, you know, the Pacific is a large ocean, but we are gravitating towards that way because of the shifting of the planet. Okay, there's like so much information I want to give to you guys. It's just a little overwhelming, and that's why it's important to not retain the information, because your brain will have a meltdown if you try to retain it. So, the Bermuda Triangle, the reason it has some funky electromagnetic stuff going on is because Atlantis, Lemuria, there's like a civilization that's underwater in that region. And the thing is, with Atlantis and Lemuria in that particular continent, it was really charged. Now, I don't know scientific terms to describe what this charge is. All I know is that it was extremely charged by energy or something. So now that the civilization, the continent, is under sea, there's like still a charge or signal like being put out. And I don't know what that is. Again, I have no definition. I don't know what that is. But it's creating this Bermuda Triangle, which is this interference with planes and just weird stuff going on that can't really be explained. That was given to me in my meditation. Now, like I mentioned before, our first cycle through the light era was about just life being life trying to figure out itself, like trying to figure out how to ground itself, how to be alive. Okay, now we know that. We've went through those thousands, millions of years. You can imagine the dinosaur age, life trying to find its niche, trying to work out how to coexist, how to create ecosystem. All of that was happening in the first go around of the light era. But this light era, we're done with the bronze era and the age of darkness. Okay, that's all in history books. Everything before that, it's only like little snippets. Like, we have a little organism in the ocean, and then we have some sort of a lizard, and then we have a monkey, and then we have a human. That sort of very quick snippets of our light era. Not really getting too much in the juicy stuff of why that was really happening and what we as humans, as organisms, as earthlings really learned from that light period. Because remember, all light periods, the reason you're in a light period, because things expand, new life is happening, things are creative, abundant, cornucopia. And that is what was happening on with species of life. All of a sudden it just seemed overnight, which really wasn't, millions of years, thousands of years, but it was just like abundant, like, a new species, a new forest, a new jungle, a new desert, a new mountain. Oh my gosh, what's going on? All this creative life is coming up. And that's going to happen right now, moving forward, but it's different. It's a different energy, because it is a birth of creativity in the form of spiritual consciousness. Again, I don't know if that's the correct word to describe, But it is. It's like a form of consciousness. We've gotten our grounding. We've gotten our biology. We understand our biology. We understand it. Now we are stepping into, okay, I've mastered this whole root chakra energy, which is about survival. We are now going to kind of work on other areas, which is more the heart chakra, because Earth is of the heart. So that is working on our spiritual connectiveness, a union, oneness, consciousness, awareness, wisdom, because all of these chakras above the heart, we're very much working below the heart in the first roundabout in the light era before the bronze and dark ages with Atlantis Lemuria, which is about your life force energy, which is your power, manifestation, actualizing your vision into the tangible sense. But now we're going to work on the more upper chakras, which is about the wisdom or the feminine energy. Below the heart chakra is more so the masculine. So we got these polarities going on, just like the poles, north and south poles, which creates this cycling of energy. So this feminine energy is of the heart, is a spirituality, it's of union, it's of harmony, balance, receptivity, grace, letting go, receiving, just a higher level of awareness. We're anchoring that now through this new age, going into these thousands of years of light, okay, this polarity, light. We were in the dark, now we're kind of going into the light. We're experiencing that. So it's going to be an abundance, a cornucopia of a lot of spiritual creativity, of healing, of union, togetherness, friendship, harmony. And the Native Americans in North America very much were kind of ahead of the trend, you would say, because they were already participating in that. But this is going to be different because it's not going to be on geographic regions, it's going to be global. So it's not going to be like one continent or one small little geographic region on a continent is experiencing harmony while the rest is just not. It's going to be a global thing. And very much this international communication, even Stephen Jobs, these pioneering spirits, have very much provided us with a tool to create a global awakened, a global community, all participating in this spiritual enlightenment, this awareness, this harmony, this balance, this feminine grace, this feminine letting go, this feminine touch. Even in art, is going to become more of a feminine presence, like the Lemurian and Atlanteans. The Minoans in Greece, you can look them up on Google, they're kind of fascinating. The Minoans, it's like Minoans, Minoans, lived on the island of Crete, in Greece. They pretty much, I like to associate them as like the first Greek presence in the Greek islands, and they very much, their art was very feminine, very feminine. They had women on bulls doing like gymnastic stuff, and again, this was during a period when a lot of like art, a lot of women, weren't really shown. They were kind of, women existed, but they weren't really allowed to participate in stuff, and you all know that stuff, we all know that woman history, that what women have been through sort of stuff. So just seeing, okay, yes, now I want to get into Mars. Mars and the aliens. So if you guys like aliens, Martians, it's gonna be a very fascinating message. So I saw Ancient Aliens, an episode on Mars, and I saw like these civilization, these statues of heads of stuff buried in the sand on Mars. Very much like if you discovered Atlantis under the water, you would see just a lot of statues just buried under sand kind of poking out sort of stuff. I saw that on Mars. And the thing is, what was very interesting is I feel Mars was the first planet in our solar system to be terraformed So our pre-ancestors of humans, or the pre-ancestors of human that is right now, this alien species, I feel in this meditation, the channel message was that we were residing on Mars. Mars was terraformed. And while it was terraformed, and we were living on Mars as you could say a species, a human, but I feel like that person, you could say, or that civilization, those beings were not humans. They were like the pre-ancestors or pre-ancestors of humans. So what I saw in this vision was Earth was very much, they showed me equivalent to Jupiter. Not in size, no, not in size, but they showed me the storm on Jupiter. Okay, there's, gigantic storm, and they showed me planet Earth, very much the whole continent, for example, like North America, was like one gigantic storm of just lava. It just looked like an explosion was going on. And think about it. If there was no oceans, you look at the Atlantic and the Platonic plates, that you scar across the planet is extremely long, probably as long as North America, those Platonic plates. So that's what I imagined was I saw all of this lava and stuff like that, very much equivalent to the storm on Jupiter. So while we were on Mars as pre-ancestors of human, I don't even know the name of this actual being because I know it wasn't human, but very much transformed into human when they began to colonize Earth, when Earth was more habitable, suitable for the colonization. We were living on Mars as like Martians, and we were very much observing planet Earth. Planet Earth was in its period of just destruction, chaos, because it was trying to find its balance. It was trying to find its harmony, find its niche. Okay. It's like just one big ball of fire. There was no oceans. There was really no life, no organisms. It was just a big ball of like fire. Very much like Jupiter with that storm. So we were living on Mars, and we had to leave Mars, and we also had bases on the moon, the dark side of the moon, because I saw in my meditation the dark side of the moon, and I saw these bases, and some of these bases are abandoned. Like, I feel like they're even abandoned today, not for any bad reason, but they're just abandoned because there's no use for them anymore. But I feel like there's some alien races or beings, civilizations, go to these bases at infrequent times. I don't necessarily know why they go to these bases, because I feel like these bases were used primarily for helping planet Earth when Earth was in this period of just trying to figure out its niche, with its just chaoticness and fire and all of that, like lava, and there's no water, no organisms, Earth's trying to figure it out. Chaos, It's always kind of chaos when we're trying to figure it out. And we had to leave Mars because the oceans in Mars were not deep. They were not deep like planet Earth. There was something, the water itself, there was no longevity in residing on Mars. There was a good solid ecosystem, but I feel like a portion of Mars was just inhabitable. Like maybe there was deserts that were just like whole continents, just deserts, wastelands, because I feel like there was portions that were wastelands, like dead zones, toxic zones, no-go zones. So we had to colonize Earth. So we had this base on the moon because we were very proactive on really helping Earth get its groove, get it going, get it finding its place in our solar system, its place, so it could be fertile enough to have organisms, oceans, and then organisms in the oceans. And then eventually you could say lands, fertile lands of abundant green for the beings to colonize that planet. So we have a desire as humans to want to explore Mars because it's very much our home before home, our home before Earth. And it's interesting because when I look at the timeline of Mars in the future, like distant future, 300 years from now future, and Mars when Earth was just this ball of fire, no water, no organisms, I feel Mars, obviously we're going to terraform Mars. I mean, that's the direction we're going in as, you know, in the scientific community. We're going to terraform Mars, but it's going to be different. I don't know how to describe the difference because I don't really know or have the definitions of what that is going to be. But I feel Mars, while Earth was trying to figure itself out, was very much like a refuge place. Like America, you know, it's being like a refuge. I feel Mars was a refuge for a particular alien race that wanted to have the continuation of its unique culture, but its planet somehow wasn't compatible with the culture that particular alien race wanted to participate in longer. Okay, and Earth was more compatible with that particular alien's culture for the continuation of that culture to happen. So that's why they chose planet Earth, because particular planets are vibrationally more compatible with particular cultures. Now, when I say culture, it's not like the traditional sense of culture. It's more of a vibrational frequency that the collective wants to participate in for their evolution at the micro and macro level. And Earth, for this particular alien race, was very compatible with that vibrational lesson, evolution that this race wanted to participate in for growth and exploration. Just seeing what else that I was given about these channel messages. Again, I'm forgetting because I'm not meant to withhold. My brain is not meant to withhold. Forgetting, if you forget channel messages, if you channel them and you just like, whoa, what happened? Know that that's okay. You're completely in the nowness. And when you're completely in the nowness, that is the best place to be in to receive the channel messages. Channel messages that are unspoiled by your mind, by the stuff in your mind from social media, from movies, all that stuff. When you transcend that level of the mind, you are in a different realm, of a complete nowness realm. And in that nowness realm, there's no perceived of time, so it's like you're experiencing all of it here and now, in wherever you are seeing in your vision meditation. So when you kind of return back to this other aspect of your mind that is aware of, you know, the TV you watched, aware of, you know, the social media you looked at, you know, the Facebook post, it's aware of that, you completely forget all that. All of that. Everything that happened in that other state of consciousness, that other state of your mind, for the purpose of your crystal brain not being overused. Not being overused, not storing. Because it's not good to store that information. Any sort of information. Its forgetfulness can be helpful for the new energy to be coming into your mind, new energy to be flowing in and out, because it's not the download itself that helps you to become wiser or helps you become aware of something in your life. It's more so of that energy that lingers behind after that channel message has really been received out, after given out after it's been received inside of your being, if that makes sense. It's the energy. It's like the residue of energy that lingers. So it's not a conscious awareness. Oh, this channel message, okay, now I know my life purpose. Okay, now I know why this relationship ended, because I got a psychic information from my guide in meditation. No, that is not the point of the channel message. It's the energy. You're not going to be able to put a definition to it. You're not going to be able to intellectually figure it out, because it's an energy. But you'll feel it, the subtle change. You feel it. You'll feel a boost. Because channel messages give you a boost. They give your whole biology, your whole mind a boost. And that is good, because in this density, it's very dense, as we know, it's good to have that boost, that energetic boost, because that's what's really keeps you healthy, keeps you vibrant, keeps you could say, the ageless remedy. I don't know if that's the right word. I see it in commercials. Take this product and you will never age. But it's like that. That boost helps you to really never age, because you're not just being hammered down by the density. Because gravity is like hammered down. It elevates you. It's like gives you this push, like explosion. And it's a renewal. It's a renewal, which keeps you. It's like an no age remedy, I think. So I'm seeing if there's anything else I would like to share with you about what was given to me in meditation today, about the history of Earth, about aliens, about Mars, before the Bronze Age. I feel I've gotten all the messages out. There may be some more messages, but I feel like I don't feel guided to communicate to you right now, them to you right now. Yeah, I'm just tapping into my higher mind, just kind of like I'm walking through a library of my Satric records and seeing if there's any books, that chapters, or even excerpts from these books in my higher mind that my guides would like me to read to you. Yeah, I feel like I got it all out. So I hope you guys enjoyed these channel messages and found it very informative and resourceful on your unique spiritual awakening. And remember, okay, there's one, the spine. The spine was the greatest gift to not just humanity, but lots of species. The spine, really Earth itself. The spine was a gift, because the spine, it's a very interesting design. I feel like it took practice to come up with this unique design. It's very spontaneous. For example, the Martians, kind of, you imagine, dropped off beings, their beings, on planet Earth, when planet Earth was, you could imagine, habitable. Not drop off as, let's go take a ship and drop off. No. Life is different. It has to go through stages. Just like you, with your manifestations, you have to go through the stages, through the process. You can't just, like, boom, get it. So these beings didn't just, like, go on there and, travel in their ship and then land. They took their DNA and they basically put it on Earth, in the oceans, in the DNA of maybe they did mix DNA with particular species, such as lizards, or even further on the timeline of monkeys or something like that. And what they did is they allowed their DNA to blossom into whatever direction it wanted to go in. And that's the whole spontaneity aspect of creation. Creation cannot be conformed. It cannot be controlled. Just like us, humans, species. Species don't like to be controlled. They like the room to grow. They like room to be spontaneous in their evolution. So that's what the Martians did, or my guide showed me in my vision of what these Martians did. They dropped off their DNA and allowed the DNA to transform into whatever spontaneous creation they wanted it to, nature on Earth wanted it to be. So life is a process. And just like this awakening is a process. And getting back to the spine, because I kind of forgot. Again, I was getting forgetful because there's so much information. The spine is a very brilliant gift. It was designed, like designing a home. You know, it took a lot of, almost aeons to design the spine. So the reason that the spine is really good is because it really, it's, what is it, the spine? It's a connector. It connects. Link upon link upon link, it connects. It creates this connection throughout the body. So they showed me that the spine is that creation that really got not only humanity but other species growing really rapidly. Because when there's a link, when there's a connection, for some reason advancements, acceleration, and expansion happen. And that's why we as humanity are having this acceleration and growth, because Earth, like a spine, and imagine each vertebrate is like a nation or a continent or a country. When the vertebrates or the links are connecting properly, there's an acceleration of growth. You have movement. Now, if our vertebrates weren't connected properly, I don't know, we probably wouldn't be able to move our arms, or we would have spasms. Our body wouldn't be able to do what our mind wants to do quickly. So it would be like you think, the vertebrates are all in conflict with each other, they're not in sync, they're not one with each other, therefore it would probably take extra seconds just to move your leg or to move your arm. You couldn't do it simultaneously as you think it, or not involuntarily think it. So that's the gift of the spine. Not just the spine, but the unification of the vertebrates, the oneness of the spine, what the spine represents, which is oneness, connection. It creates acceleration growth, so you can simultaneously, simultaneously, thinking I'm going to move my arms and dance and be doing it. But when they're not, when the vertebrates are in conflict, such as what happens in our nations for thousands of years, it creates a really slow, like moving your arms and legs. It's just like a slow thing. It's a slow process because there's this conflict. Your vertebrate, your spine is not communicating well. There's tension. They're like opposing communications going on. So that's where the accelerated growth comes from when it comes to planet Earth at this time, moving forward in the age of Aquarius and beyond that, is this unification. Once we get the unification, like our spine, we begin to have this accelerated growth. And life experienced it in the Light Ages before the Dark and the Bronze Age. Life experienced it because life was so abundant, and it is abundant now, but it wasn't as abundant. Okay. Now we don't know that because we weren't scientists back in that light era, so we don't have documentation of how abundant Earth was at that time. But we can only make assumptions, you could say, in the scientific community, that life was extremely abundant, like a cornucopia, probably more so than the life itself right now, species, ecosystems. And simply, it was abundant. Creativity was flowing because they were connected. They were in harmony. They were co-creating. There was a synergy going on. And whenever there's a synergy going on, this harmony, connection, like the spinal cords are all connected. They're linked. They're basically beating at the same rate, like a heart beating together, pumping together in synergy together, wanting to collaborate together, coexist together. Life in the Light Ages had that experience. And that's why they were so abundant in creativity. And that's what we're stepping into, which is pretty exciting. It's an exciting time to be alive, but you have to understand that feeling, it comes from you charging yourself. You have to charge yourself. Okay, it's very hard to really feel alive or feel happy to be alive when you're energetically just really drained or depleted, because this is a dense reality. The gravity is heavy, heavy on our biology. So if we don't have this cycling of energy, of boosting ourselves up, what happens is just becomes like a mountain of energy. It doesn't have to be positive or negative. It's just a mountain of energy that's not being used. It's not being cycled. It's the receiving and giving. There's no harmonious transitioning of that. It just becomes a mountain and becomes very heavy. It can be in the form of ideas. You have a lot of ideas. You're not letting go of those ideas. You have expectations, demands. It becomes a mountain of ideas. It's very heavy in your heart. So when you get in the practice of receiving, letting go, and receiving and giving, and being really kind of just forgetful, just being in the now moment, you don't have any mountain of energy, of ideas. You have dreams, but the mountain of energy connected, correlating with your dreams, it more comes from the expectation, the demands, I need to have this is my purpose. And the guides, they also showed me about purpose. Humans are so interested in the whole definition of purpose. What's my purpose? What's my mission? It's like the only species really about purpose, is like obsessed with purpose, is the humans. All other species knows their purpose instantly when they're born. Like penguins. I love observing penguins on like documentary Discovery Channel, because the penguins are just so interesting looking. I love the penguins. And they just seem to naturally know their purpose. They're not analyzing, overthinking, am I doing my purpose? Is this my purpose? Is this my mission? They're just naturally just doing their thing. Doing their thing on an individual level and together. They're just doing their thing. And that's you. Your purpose is simply just doing your thing. Now again, this gets into a whole different realm of conversation with ideologies. And for example, if you're American, purpose a lot of times is doing something very extravagant, very elaborate. Purpose, getting your PhD, doing something very significant, like getting a Nobel Prize. That's like a purpose. But it's not a purpose. It's not the truest purpose. Truest purpose is like a penguin, is the beingness. All the penguins are pretty much doing the same thing. They're all doing the same thing. They're all just having their babies, going out, fishing, coming back, helping their babies. They're all doing the same thing. And they're at harmony, because there isn't this hierarchy. Yeah, there may be hierarchy with horses. You have the lead horses that gets all the females, and, the male horses that are lower that don't get the females, and the mating privileges. That hierarchy system. But there's disharmony among horse tribes and other horse tribes. But when we can allow our purpose to just being the beingness, we'll find ourselves just really in harmony with people. We won't be judging ourselves so much, therefore judging other people, comparing ourselves to other people. That's what happens with the competition among wild horses, with the males. Because it's like, I'm the better. No, I'm the better. I'm the better. I need to have all the rights to the females. So I'm going to fight you for all the rights to the females and the tribe. And that simply becomes from, I'm better. I want to be better than you. That is very much the American ideology. You have to be better than who is presently here. You have to be better than that. So just be like the penguins and just be relaxed. Know that your beingness, your purpose is just simply breathing, going about your day. Like penguins, you go and quacking, go get your fish and have your baby and nurture your baby and then let your baby go when your baby's big enough and then start the process all over again. It may seem routine to the penguins, but they are in the flow of their purpose, creation. Purpose is creativity. It's not necessarily having a PhD or a Nobel Prize. So I think I'm going to leave you guys with those channel messages. I know I could talk all day about my channel messages that I have to share for you guys, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Namaste.